Hi, hi. Um, I want to say that the lights are off because it was too bright, and for some reason the light wouldn't. Um, I couldn't see my face because it was too bright. So I thought about turning off the lights, and it worked pretty good. I'm not completely in the dark, but it got a little hotter over here. So I turned in the air conditioner, whatever and it's gonna get cold in a little bit. So, but I'm good. Um, and like I said, let's just keep it in the positive. Everything's gonna work out, as you can see it in my life. Today, I wanted to share that um, I believe I was 9 years old, and I mean I can explain this without crying or anything, but it is kind of hard. I noticed that it it's kind of hard to remember, not because I'm trying to forget, but it's because it's still very vivid inside of me. And that's the whole part of needing y'all to listen to me so I can get more used to talking about it. Because I have shared my story on a one on one, like just like one on one, or maybe I tried in a group, but now it's I don't see all of y'all, but I know y'all there, and I don't have to feel like rejection. I know that there's a lot of good people in the world still. Still, if not, we wouldn't be here. I believe that there's a lot of good people in the world, and that's why God keeps it going. But one day that's gonna end. We gotta think. But anyway, like I want to share this story. That way I can get it out of me, and because I know I'm not the first and won't be the last. I pray to God I was the last. I just, but anyway, my my dad. I don't know if he had a drinking problem or not, but I mean I did have pretty good parents. There was always food in the refrigerator. My dad was like a good provider because he would give my mom like 350, practically all his check, give it to her, and um, she would buy the food. So we had plenty. Um, um, I'm not gonna say any names, but this person lived in the same household where I was living, and one day my dad got up, and we only had like a one bedroom house. So my dad and my mom slept in the room, and we all slept in the living room. And when my dad got up, he would all often get up, and that night he got up to check on the doors if everything was locked. And I remember when he came out his room, he saw something. Like when you're doing something bad, and then somebody comes and you kind of act like and that person can tell something not right here. Well, my dad was able to sense that my this other person was unzipping my pants at the time, and I remember I was so little because my dad would come home from work, and he would throw me up in the sky, and then he would catch me. That's how I know I was little. And m- my dad didn't have papers at the time, or if he did, I don't know. But I do know that my mom would argue with him over that other person because uh, that was not his real son, and so he couldn't do nothing to him, especially if my dad didn't have no papers. You know, he didn't want to cause like her report him to the police. He didn't want to get no into no police, so he didn't know. My dad didn't know what to do, but I'm sure he was kind of like struggling inside. So he told me to get up and go tell my mom what he did to me. And then I remember she was in bed, and I went in there, and I was so little. I couldn't explain myself, like what I didn't know how to call it. But she kept asking me questions like, did he hit you? And I would like not know. Did he did he pull your hair? And I would like, and each time I kept getting upset because she was saying the wrong answer. And then finally she said, did he pull your pants down, or did he touch you in a private area? And and the minute when she said the right, I happened to glaze at her, and I nodded yeah. And my dad was already ready with the buckle of the belt. You know, he hit me, hit me, and I was like crying because I mean that hurts. And then he hit me with all his might, and then he went and he started kicking on my brother, and because we were all sleeping on the floor, we only had like two couches, and some, he was sleeping on the floor at the time, and he kicked him. I saw him kicking him through my mom's room, and then he hit him with a buckle belt and everything. And on that day my mom didn't say anything because I guess she knew that it was wrong what he did to me. Well, at the time, it was not a full action of what had already been happening, and but this time, my dad, it was the first time he caught it. And I I think because my dad with me, because of that, I feel that maybe it was, for a long time I felt that it was my fault, that I did something wrong. And then after that, my dad, when he would come home from work, he treated me so different, like I didn't exist anymore. I felt like so ugly, so dirty, so uh, just like all alone, how. And I just lived like that. I guess since that day I stopped growing, and because I felt like I had lost all full support. What little support I had, but I just lost it. But now I look back, and I say, now I understand why my dad hit me, because he had to hit me so he could go and hit him too. If he wouldn't have hit me, my mom wouldn't have let him hit him because I wasn't his son. And another time, there was always problems. And one of the problems, my dad would come home late because he worked from morning to night. And you know how when you don't got papers, they make you work all day. Well, my dad was hardly ever at home. And one day he came, but he would come drunk. And one day, my my mom started arguing with my dad because he had came home drunk again. Um, He had came home drunk again. Okay. He had came home drunk again. I'm sorry, guys. My camera fell. Um, um, and my mom started telling him that he's never home. She's always feeding us. She's always buying us clothes. And we're not even her kids, And we would just my three brothers and my sister and me. It was five of us, and we're just always listening to what they're arguing, and. Okay, so when my dad heard my mom say, and I buy them clothes, and you don't buy the clothes, and these are your kids, and I'm tired, and then my dad called my name. Out of all of us that was there, my dad called my name. He said, Rosa, get over here. And he wanted me to stand up in the center where my mom was, in the middle where my dad was, in the center. He told me, get there. And I went there, I stood there, and then he told me, take off your clothes. And I'm like, oh my God. I was 9. At that time, I had grew a little bit more. I remember I was like 9 years old. He told me that to take my clothes. And I kind of froze. And then he yelled at me. I said, I told you, take off your clothes. And I'm like, okay. By then, I'm already taking off my shirt because he was yelling at me, and I didn't want him to get mad at me, and I was going to get in trouble. So I take off my clothes, my shirt, and then he told me, take it all off, but, yelling. And so I started taking off my shorts. And the last thing that I had to take off was my panties, and I kind of froze right there. And he told me, aren't you hearing me? I said, take it all off. And so then I just took it all off. And it kind of, it's like everything got quiet. I was just standing there covered with my hands, my private. And it's like everybody was looking at me, and it was quiet. And then my dad leaves, and then everybody goes their own separate way. And I just stood there with no clothes. And then I put it back on. And just pretended that nothing like that ever happened. But stuff like that affected me later on. I'm sorry, I said I wasn't gonna cry, but you know, that's why I am I love God, because um I feel alive inside. I feel alive. I feel like I'm not that person anymore. I don't feel sad. I don't feel hurt. I just feel uh, like I'm gonna be okay. God has a good plan for me. And yes, I went through all those things, but it's for a good cause. It's because everything that I've been through. I don't. It's just that it made me who I am now. I have a big heart. I'm mature a lot. You know, um, um, I'm old school, and I'm okay with that. I don't ask for a lot, and I'm happy. Just as long as I have the Lord with me, I'm happy. I'm rich. And I'm safe, And I want people to feel that. You know, m- 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 I have a condition, like a disability, but what I care most is about my healing in my soul. That's the best healing that I can have, and that's all I had asked the Lord. Save my soul, save my soul, because I know He promised us that we're gonna have a new body. I rather have a soul that has a assurance of salvation. That when I die, I'm gonna live with Him. I'm gonna go with Him. I'm not gonna die and I'm gonna live in the second resurrection when Jesus comes for us. Anyway, uh, let me go dry up my tears. Thank you. God bless you.